Thank you for turning to page 121. Today, on the Traveler Tips, we're going to take a look at the skill, arguably super skill, Jack of all trades. So we're going to go ahead and start by taking a look at the skill itself. There we go, on page 69 of the core rulebook. And all information for this video is going to be taken just from the core rulebook. I realize there may be some other exceptions to what I'm going to say in other offerings, but for today, I'm just going to focus on the core rulebook. So, Jack of all trades. The Jack of all trades skill works differently to other skills. It reduces the unskilled penalty a traveler receives for not having the appropriate skill by 1 for every level of Jack of all trades. For example, if a traveler does not have the pilot skill, they suffer die modifier -3 to all pilot checks. If that traveler has Jack of all trades 2, the penalty is reduced by 2 to die modifier -1. With Jack of all trades 3, a traveler can totally negate the penalty for being unskilled. There is no benefit for having Jack of all trades 0 or Jack of all trades 4 or higher. So kind of a lot to unpack there, but basically what it is a get out of jail free card for all skills. If you aren't trained in the skill, you don't have the skill, but you have Jack of all trades, you at least have a better chance than somebody else of succeeding at the skill. So in the example given, the pilot is out of action for whatever reason, and you have to take over the controls. You've got Jack of all trades 2. Instead of a die modifier -3 to start out being the pilot, you're only going to be a -1. If you have Jack of all trades 3, you'll be a die modifier 0. So Jack of all trades is an extremely useful skill to have. Fortunately, it's limited to the various professions in Traveler. Of all the professions in Traveler out of the core rulebook again, only the citizen, drifter, entertainer, merchant, and then only is a rank 3 free trader, for a noble, and then only the dilettante, scout, and prisoner. Those are the only places you can get Jack of all trades, so you have to take one of those career paths. All right, you say, well, I'll just take it under the connections rule. I can take any skill I want for the connections rule. That the connections rule is if I and another player agree that some event one of us has rolled can result in us having worked together, we each get 1 skill, and a traveler can get 2 bonus skills that way under Mongoose. So that's kind of a neat rule. But it says here, for each connection you make, you may gain any skill, but cannot bring a skill above level 3 using this rule, nor may you take the Jack of all trades skill. And I would also include that you couldn't increase the Jack of all trades skill under the connections rule. So you're stuck there too. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, I can still get this. I'll go ahead and I'll learn it during my study periods. Okay, the way you want to increase your traveler's skills and abilities is through training. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your 8-week training skill and 2 months basically of study and practice for your study period, and I'll apply that to Jack of all trades. Nope. The Jack of all trades skill may never be learned or improved. So Jack of all trades is definitely one of those you have to get when you're rolling the career, and that you have to increase while you're in the career. You cannot increase it after the career. You cannot increase it by other means throughout the book. And I think that's a good rule. You definitely don't want a lot of Jack of all trades wandering around. The idea that I could do brain surgery with 0 penalties just because I'm really, gifted, that's kind of a head scratcher. Of course, the game master could change the difficulty modifier for the brain surgery and things like that. But per the rules, if it's a difficulty modifier, if it's a 12 that I need, and I am completely unskilled with medical at all, but I've got Jack of all trades 3, and I try it, then I'm trying it on a base 12, and then that's modified by my education or my intelligence, or possibly both, maybe even dexterity, depending on the situation. So there are ways to actually still get this benefit for not having trained ever in medicine, and I'm going to do brain surgery. One quick real life version of this that I encountered when I was very young. My dad had a friend, there's a guy he worked with. His name was Jack, that's all I remember, who was an incredibly skilled individual. This guy could pour concrete like you wouldn't believe. He could work in wood as a master. He was truly ambidextrous. He could saw with either hand. He could write with either hand. He could pound a nail with either hand. And one of the other skills he developed was he could do his wife's hair. This was in the late 60s, early 70s when hair was big and poofy. And he just taught himself to go ahead and do it. And this guy was built like a fire plug and just one of those people that could do pretty much anything he ever set his mind toward. He was a pretty amazing guy. My dad only worked with him for a few years, so we lost touch with him. But it was amazing. We'd go to his house, and he'd built a garage, and he'd never really worked with construction before, but he just figured it out. He was that kind of guy. So that guy definitely had 3 levels of jack of all trades. The only person in my life that I've ever had that experience with, and definitely the reason, or the person I think of when I think of jack of all trades. This guy, whose name was Jack, could do everything. It was amazing. So jack of all trades, a skill that can only be gained while you're in the career, and then only in limited careers: citizen, drifter, entertainer, merchant, as you get when you make rank 3 in free trader merchant, noble under the dilettante path, scout, or prisoner. Otherwise, you cannot get your hands on jack of all trades. Let me know what you think. Do you like jack of all trades? Is it something that you don't really allow, or maybe allow only person to go to only maybe level 1 or 2? I personally, if somebody takes a career that has jack of all trades and they manage to get 3 levels in jack of all trades, I allow it. Would I want multiples of those in my game? No, but I definitely would allow it in my game. So let me know what experience you've had with jack of all trades, and what kind of problems or no problems you've had with it. I'd be curious to find out. Incidentally, I have not under Mongoose. Nobody in my campaign has jack of all trades under Mongoose, but I have had jack of all trades in other versions of Traveler, and it's an interesting catch-all kind of super skill that can definitely change your game. So be careful with it, but I don't ban it by any means. So let me know your thoughts. And that's all I've got to say today. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time on page 121.